Hi, my name is Gary Juffa. I'm the Governor for Oro Province and the Chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Reform, as well as the Deputy Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. This is a brief presentation on my experience in the Public Accounts Committee during the inquiry into corruption in the National Department of Health, the government entity that is given the responsibility of managing the health sector in Papua New Guinea. Our inquiry was chaired by John Pundari, the Honourable Member for Kompium Ambum, and I was his deputy. We were assisted by about 5 to 6 other members of the committee. They turned up according to their schedules and when they were available. We conducted the inquiry in the first instance by requesting information from the National Department of Health to clarify reports that we had received from the Auditor General's reports that were tabled in Parliament. The analysis of this information formulated certain inquiry questions and reviews and basically raised questions that needed to be asked, and these questions were asked to the department itself and other relevant persons we felt would help us in the inquiry. The inquiry basically found that there was widespread corruption within the department, especially in the procurement division of the National Department of Health. There was very weak leadership at the management level, and it appeared that there was significant negligence and impropriety committed by key persons within the organization in the purchase, supply, procurement, distribution of drugs in Papua New Guinea or throughout Papua New Guinea. Heavily inflated contracts were basically passed through. Contracts that had huge conflict of interest situations were basically passed through and endorsed. And this brought to question the good governance mechanisms that existed within the department, which I would say don't exist. If there are any good governance mechanisms that existed in the department, they were totally ignored and they were just there for the purposes of window dressing, and they achieved virtually nothing. The people of Papua New Guinea were significantly endangered by this situation in that many of the drugs were either not distributed in a timely manner, or if they were distributed, they came from sources that were dubious. In some instances, we found that some of the drugs were actually the wrong drugs or of a very poor quality, and they did not comply with international standards insofar as quality and control is concerned, and insofar as manufacturing of those said drugs is concerned. In this type of inquiry, we found that it is very important to ensure that everyone that is involved is brought before camera and presented in such a manner that they are there where they have to answer the questions that are presented to them. This may sound draconian, but I found that it is the only way to really get down to the bottom of these issues and find solutions to the problems of corruption that continue to confront Papua New Guinea, and indeed continues to confront Papua New Guinea. Corruption is it's everywhere. It's like a growing cancer, and unfortunately, it will continue to grow if we don't come together to tackle corruption, if we don't make the effort to address it in an aggressive, assertive manner. Constant, continuous, consistent effort is required at all levels. It's not good enough to just recognize corruption. It's not good enough to just complain about it, write about it, post about it on social media. You have to actually get your hands dirty and confront corruption, and you have to take it out. That's just the only way to deal with corruption. That's how we deal with it, or that's how we have dealt with it in Papua New Guinea. Unfortunately, there is still a long way to go. Our report, the recommendations have barely been acted upon. However, I am very optimistic that now, with the new secretary on board, he has formed a disciplinary committee. He is taking a look at the recommendations and implementing those recommendations, but we are going to follow up. As the chairman of my Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Reform, I will follow up. As the Deputy Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, I will follow up. What has happened to these recommendations? Where are we now? And that's what you need to do. If you're an elected official, you've got to keep following up. You've got to keep banging on doors and knocking on tables and demanding the best out of public servants, But not only just the best, you've also got to ensure that the systems that are designed to work are working. And if they're broken down or if they've been circumvented, why? How? By who? How do we improve them? It's the questions that you're going to need to continue to ask yourself. The Department of Health in Papua New Guinea, what we discovered was that this is a legacy issue, or there were legacy issues that were carried over from decades of poor management and I would say ignorance by those at political levels. As a result of the ignorance at political levels, as a result of weak or poor management, corruption grew and spread like a terrible cancer, and unfortunately we were only seeing what had already happened and had caused so much misery for mainly the most vulnerable people in our societies. I hope this has been useful. If there's anything else I can do to provide further information, please do not hesitate to contact my office, and I will do what I can to present such information. If I am unable to do so, I will be able to point you in the right direction so that you can get the information that you require. This will require a whole of government effort. This will require political will. This will require the effort of the relevant agencies that are tasked to be watchdogs for your country, for your people. The police, the public prosecutor, the attorney general, as well as all the other relevant agencies that play some role, they all have to work together to confront and stamp out corruption. Thank you very much, and look at you behind time.